Hey everyone, it's Rena. I know I just recorded a video with me sitting right here. I literally just got up, stopped recording, started a new one, and kind of just sit back right here. But in my last video, I did mention that I do want to be more honest about things. And I specifically said that one of my resolutions is to be honest with myself about things. Coming along with that, I think I should be more honest about this with people around me as well, including you. I share who I am on this channel. I know that sounds really, really weird and whatever, but I really do want to be honest about who I am. I'm not going to try and butter it up. I'm not going to try and sugarcoat anything. There's a certain amount of energy that goes into living as a human being. And for most people, that comes naturally. That just is something that you can get out of bed, you can get through the door, and you don't have any, exhaustion from that. You don't burn a lot of your energy just getting ready for your day. And that's what's normalized. And that's true for most people, I will say that. That being said, I am not one of those people. I am physically incapacitated due to my back. You all know I have anxiety and depression, and those are, things I talk about sometimes. One thing that I haven't actually talked about a lot is my auditory processing. I don't know how many of you are familiar with sensory processing disorders, but if you have autism, or if you are familiar with autism or sensory processing problems, you probably know at least a little bit about this. The cut and dry version is my senses kind of get mucked up a little bit. They're not unreliable, but they don't process everything efficiently, and they don't process sensory information in the way that you would expect necessarily. For me, that's mostly for my hearing and for textures, for touch. The way I like to describe it is my whole life is on at least a 5-second audio delay. That's pretty much how it goes. It's not that I have hearing loss. I'm not hard of hearing. I can hear just fine. It's just I don't process that information until a few seconds later. I don't register that I've heard something until a few seconds later. It's kind of hard to explain if you don't experience it. It's hard to understand if you don't experience it, I guess. And along with that, I recently figured out, or did some research on it actually, and as it turns out, it is a learning disorder, and many consider it to be a disability. I am trying to become more and more comfortable with the fact that I could be considered disabled. And that's an internal thing that I need to reconcile for myself. There's nothing wrong with it. There really isn't. And I know that logically, but I need to process and figure that out for myself. I figured this out when I was in 4th grade. My 4th grade teacher, she was amazing. She, every once in a while, would give homework directions, but not write them down on the board, just to see who picked it up. And so it was sort of a way of pinpointing which students had problems with either attention or sensory processing or following directions, what have you, in 4th grade. Everyone's kind of figuring that out. She pinpointed it exactly in me, and I never got an official diagnosis for it, but I hit pretty much every single one of the symptoms on it, so I'm like 99.9% sure that I have this. It didn't really start to affect me until this past semester. Like, I learned ways of dealing with it. I learned a lot of really good study skills that helped me with it. So for lectures and stuff, I take notes. I have to have a little bit of extra energy that day to really be able to pay attention in class. I forget how draining it is for me to actually go to class and listen to things. Not only am I just such a visual learner, I literally cannot learn if it's entirely lecture. If there's nothing written on the board, I cannot learn. There was a class that I took this past semester where the professor didn't quite understand that because he's a very auditory learner and he doesn't know how to teach students who are visual. I ended up not passing the class, which was unsurprising. I'm gonna have to retake it, I know that, but what really is frustrating to me is that I never really got a diagnosis for this. So I think during this year, in the next few weeks, I want to see what steps I have to take to get a diagnosis for this so that I have I have the paperwork to back it up saying, look, I need extra help in the classroom. If this is a problem, then you need to actually help me here. The way this started to really be a problem for this class was, for the first test, he gave some verbal instructions for part of the test, and I completely missed them. When he was going over the test in class, I also missed that was why I missed a lot of the points on that. So I literally did not register that was a problem. And so when I was taking the second test, he said the same thing. I looked at the instructions. That was not part of the instructions written, so I thought I was fine. I got most of those wrong again, and in class, that was when it registered with me that, oh, there was a set of instructions that I missed. That's a problem. So I went to him after class saying, okay, what's wrong? I don't remember this from the last test. He was like, well, it was the same one. Like, I understand why he wasn't really understanding of the fact that I needed extra help on that, because it didn't seem to be a problem before. It seemed to be that I just didn't get the material correctly. He didn't realize how big of a problem this was for me. And I couldn't get extra help because disability services needs paperwork to prove that you have a disability of any kind. So it's just really, really frustrating. And the system is not built for students with disabilities or students who need extra help. It's not built to help them succeed. And that really is frustrating. So that's why one of my New Year's resolutions is to just be honest with myself on whether or not I need help. I think I'm more scared for the real world and what that holds for me regarding my mental health and my well-being and my ability to function in a workspace. I love the idea of using psychology and Spanish in my job. I just don't know how well that's going to work at this rate. And so I've also been looking into other career paths. I like the idea of becoming a masseuse, actually. I looked into that. I guess that's kind of the reality of what it's like for me to live with a sensory processing problem. I don't know if this is going to be helpful to anyone or if this story is really going to be something that resonates with anybody, but if it does, that's a good thing, I think. I just wanted to be honest about that and be open about that because I haven't talked about it on here before. And it's not like I was like hiding it. It's not something I'm ashamed of. I talk about it all the time, actually. I also mentioned having like sensory tactile things. There are certain textures that drive me up the wall. I can't touch flour. If I touch clay, I start gagging because it just, oh, it's the worst feeling in the world. Like, you know the sound of nails on a chalkboard? For me, it's like that feeling, but touch instead of sound. On the other hand, some sensory things just feel so good. Some things just feel amazing. Knitting and just repetitive motion is so, so nice. It's so relaxing for me to do that. Auditory too. There are also auditory things that I absolutely love, and music is definitely one of those. I used to say that music is one of my passions, but I think it's more appropriate for me to say that it's one of my sanctuaries. I feel like that term fits it a little bit better. With sensory processing, for me, it's very much a two-sided coin. One side is great and the other is just, it's the worst. Anyway, yeah, so that's me being open and honest about having sensory processing issues. If you think you might have sensory processing issues, feel free to leave a comment. I will try and give you information about it. I'm not an expert by any means, this is just my own experience with it. If you think that anything that I have to say on it might be helpful, feel free to ask me. I am more than willing to help as much as I can. So yeah, this video, feel free to leave a rating or a comment, that's always very much appreciated. And if you want to see more of my face and hear more about my life and stuff, feel free to hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you on the next video.